let's just, before we begin, let's just take this some moments to just gather ourselves, just sit with ourselves, focus on our breath, with or without the mantra. We can just give ourselves a minute. Yes, thank you so much. So, good evening and
Good evening.
yeah,
Good evening.
good evening, Captain. Good evening, Priyanka.
Good evening, everyone. Daru and Captain.
So, I'll just pull up the sun. Oh, I think I've gone too far. So, Captain, please remind me. I think we
Yeah,
have to start with religion, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
We start.
Yes, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Uh, religion. A religion belongs to the higher mind of humanity. It is the effort of man's higher mind to approach as far as lies in its power, something beyond it, something to which humanity gives the name God or spirit or truth or faith or knowledge of or the infinite, some kind of absolute which the human mind cannot reach and yet tries to reach. Religion may be divine in its ultimate origin. In its actual nature, it is not divine but human. In truth, we should speak rather of religions than of religion. For the religions made by man are many. The first and principal article of these established and formal religions runs always: Mine is the supreme, the only truth. All others are in falsehood or inferior. For without this fundamental dogma, established cradle religions could not have existed. If you do not believe and proclaim that you alone possess the one or the highest truth, you will not be able to impress people and make them flock to you. This attitude is natural to the religious mind, but it is just that which makes a religion stand in the way of spiritual life. The articles and dogmas of a religion are mind made things, and if you cling to them and shut yourself off in a code of life made out for you, you do not know and cannot know the truth of the spirit that lies beyond all codes and dogmas, wide and large and free.
Yeah, Captain,
When
I
you
think we can pause here. I think we have
okay,
covered a bit. Yeah, and I'm sorry
okay,
I moved the screen.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but you must be reading from the book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Captain, since you're already unmuted, if you would like to share any reflection of what you
Yes.
have read.
I was while reading this, I was remembering of 1893 when probably, if I'm correct, then Swami Vivekananda was in Chicago, and he got the chance to address the gathering of that meeting conference, which was taking all religions conference, and there uh, this sort of what mother is mentioning, that the first and the mind is supreme, the only truth, all others are in falsehood or inferior. So that he noticed, and in the first meeting itself, he narrated a story. And in that story, he was telling that in India we believe. So there was one well, and one frog was residing in that well. And then there was some flood or something, and one frog from the ocean or sea, by chance, had fallen into that well. And then he says, "Who are you?" The frog in the well asked. He says that I am a frog from the ocean. And he says, "What is it?" So he says, "That's a big reservoir of water. You cannot see the end of it." Then he says, "Okay." So he jumps a little from one place to other place inside the well, and he says, "This much?" He says, "No, much bigger than this." Then he keeps on increasing little bit, and finally he says, "Not this also." Then he jumped from one side of the circle to the other side of the bank, and he said, "This much?" He says, "No, much beyond this." Then he says, "Nothing can be beyond this." So, so that is the fight which goes on, because everyone, the Mahar is also telling that everybody will tries to pull the crowd, that the my religion is the supreme one, and you must join if you want to get peace of mind, or you want to uh, uh, you want to progress in the religious line. So that story I was remembering, and that time also, that people had this sort of dogmas and faith and belief, and this goes on. Even nowadays also we see in many forums and many places that this goes on. Whereas the religion in the first line itself, mother has explained that religion belongs to the higher mind of humanity. Means what has happened is, what I was reading, then I was remembering that we have to go beyond, but we are so used to, at least I was so used that initially whatever something we have learned from a mother, or from school, or from where, the religion, there is something we have formed, and that has become concrete actually in the mind, and we cannot go out of it, that understanding. And so we are with this itself. We cannot think that something beyond this. Beyond this means, how can we beyond this? And this is the definition of the religion. And how can you go beyond this? But here, mother says that it is the effort of man's higher mind to approach, as far as lies in its power, something beyond it. I mean, beyond means that we have to cross this wherever we are actually. And so that was the thing. I had on my practical experience. I was doing one course on that NLP. Then that we have got some fear psychosis or something and all, how to get over it and all. And in the process, we were told that, see, if you're going in an aircraft or something, and when you're taking off, and you can see the trees and the human being, they're walking and all this and all this. As you go higher and all, they become smaller, smaller and smaller. Then as you go, after some time, you will not be able to see neither the trees nor the buildings, and nor the human being. So like that, higher, higher and higher. So once we have this experience, so this sort of experience is required, that we are trying for something, we do not know how is it, because it cannot be seen, it cannot be felt, it cannot be this thing. So we have to go beyond this description, what we know about this. So this is a very peculiar and very important thing for us actually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain, for that grace. And yes, it's a very, I don't think there would be anybody who would not have an opinion about religion and how it helps and how it can stop us from helping. And so, inviting more reflection. Okay. So, just reading again from the passage, like Captain had stressed, that religion belongs to the higher mind of humanity. I think we can just stop right here because what we know of religion, it doesn't seem that it belongs to the higher mind, right? Like if I just say the word religion, the images that flash, they're very, how fanatism, that this is it. And it's really, it's mind-boggling that how we can place it so high and yet have such rigid, dogmatic things associated with it. Like no offense obviously to any religion, but the other day I was visiting a gurudwara. I don't do that very often. And they were ending, they were just covering up the Guru Granth Sahib and they were doing their final things that they do. And most of the things that they were saying, I don't now remember that Khalsa is the superior, most superior, and how there was that this wins and that would remain, and every other religion would fall, and this would be the only truth and stuff. So I was just exactly wondering on this, that why is it to say that I have something which is great? I have to say that it's greatest or greater than all others available. Like, why can't I don't know, like, in this passage also, it was like that we cannot say religion, we can say religions, plural. And I think that's why Sanatan Dharma, one is Hinduism, one is Buddhism, Jainism, and then there is this Sanatan Dharma, which is, they say it's the way of life, right? It's not religion. And yet nowadays it is associated with, wrongly associated with Hinduism. Like basically, especially in India, like I have grown up being raised that it's like, there are different branches of a tree, all the religions, right? Reaching at the same top. So it doesn't matter which religion you follow, but just stick to it and you'll reach the top. Just stick to it. So how can one branch be superior to the other? How can one path, if there are 10 paths leading to the same destination, how can one, factually speaking, we say we are intelligent people, we say that we follow logic. So if something is saying, okay, this is the ultimate truth, but the truth is not superior truth or inferior truth, right? It just is. But this is the path, the most superior part of in the sense, if we just reflect on it, we'll see that the ground that it stands on, it cannot be true. I mean, it repulses you if you actually hear. I would have shared this before. Like my first experience into this was like, I don't know, around maybe 10 years back, I'd gone to Vrindavan. There was this saint who, it was his 100th death anniversary, my mother's guru. And other Shankracharyas, in India, there are Shankracharyas from 4 different regions, and from the 3 mutts, the Shankracharyas had come, which was a very big honor that, they are coming. They are considered, really high up in the religious thing. And all they were speaking about was hatred. All they were talking about was that how, we'll, they say, tod denge, phod denge, as in, we are powerful. What do the others think? We'll show everybody, we'll go there and we'll do, in the sense, and within 2 minutes, I was like, if this if this is my leader, if this is the person who's supposed to, just give me 1 second, supposed to be the leader of Hinduism, then I wonder what Hinduism, where it will lead me. It was unbelievable that that's a possibility. So yeah, we must think, like I think again and again, this thing that, we just can't blindly follow. We must think whether this is making sense. Just resharing this screen. So I'm sure when it would have started, it would have been towards the higher mind. Another thing that really, I find it both sad and funny, that say, for example, there's Nanak, right? And Nanak is saying we are all one. And there is no inferiority, there is no superiority. We are all one. That's what, I don't know, I remember when I hear Nanak's word, Guru Nanak. And yet what we are practicing is that, oh, Khalsa is superior and everything else is inferior. You know how it's like, even when we are totally on paper, on, I don't know, on in words, devoted to somebody or something higher, somehow we pick and choose and we make our own dogmas, right? Somehow this thing about, if it is not the most superior, then why am I following it? And if I am following it, and if I have to attract others, I have to say, I must say that this is the most superior and the others are inferior. Just in this statement, I think a lot is reflected about one's understanding of spirituality and religion. I mean, it doesn't need to be there. Yeah, I just been talking stop. If there's any comment or reflection, please unmute and share it in. Okay. So religion belongs to the higher mind of humanity. It is the effort of man's higher mind to approach, as far as lies in its power, something beyond it, something to which humanity gives the name God or spirit or truth or faith or knowledge or the infinite, some kind of absolute which the human mind cannot reach and yet tries to reach. It feels like it had to be a means to an end, right? Because I cannot understand what's going on. I'm trying to find something which will explain more than what I can see right now. Something beyond my comprehension. And yet, because I am limited, I am small, as soon as I touch it, or if I even know about it, I put my own quotes on it, right? That, okay, this must be this limit, this must be this. So just being aware of this. Religion may be divine in its ultimate origin. In its actual nature, it is not divine, but human. I mean, we must remember this, I think, because somehow, under the rouses of sacredness, right? How in Savitri also it had said that, we put the sacred thread and tie ourselves around these things which have no value. In truth, we should speak rather of religions than of religion, for the religions made by man are many. Now, how nice it would be that if we could approach it this way, right? That this, I resonate with this and I'm following this, knowing that there are so many of us and there are so many different resonances, and for each his own. And like, how Mother says that dying victory is certain, knowing that no matter what one follows, that is the end. I love the way it's worded and it has been communicated. Yeah, pausing here in case of any reflections before we move on. So we have already covered this superior and inferior. So the first and principal article of these established and formal religions runs always. Mine is superior, the other truth. All other are in falsehood or inferior. And as soon as I think when we say this or believe this, that's it, right? That takes away the purity, the expandedness. And it's kind of reminding me of democracy, right? Like how in India, especially, we say we're a democratic nation. And yet, it's like, okay, democracy, but this is better and this is not, and this should have more rights and this should have more that. So as soon as this thing comes about inferiority, superiority, somehow the truth, it's far from the truth. It's so evident. So if you do not believe and proclaim that you alone possess the one or the highest truth, you will not be able to impress people and make them flock to you. Yeah, so again, I think it comes to what is the center of operation, right? Like somehow it seems that the center, the main focus of every community or religion is to get more people. So then you will say the things, do the things, just that so that they'll come and they'll say, yes, yes, I agree with you. And I when I had gone to Auroville on Auroville's birthday, they light a huge fire. I'm sure I think people would know that. I think they say 2 times a year they do that. It's a dawn fire at 4 a.m. And it was beautiful. And yet when I was there last year, I kind of was thinking that, like because I've attended so many other retreats and camps, I could imagine that if say it was Sadhguru or Shri Shri, there would be drums playing at the background, making it sound larger than life. How we can dramatize things. And yet, when you, again, I'm not taking sides, but I'm just saying that for things to let them be, like a fire is pretty magnificent in itself, that huge fire. It doesn't need add-ons. It doesn't need those japas and mantras in the background, which actually you're awestruck when that happens, when everything gets combined. And yet the simplicity with which most tasks are done in Pondicherry and Auroville, and this non-converse conversion nature of this, I find it very humbling and very, very endearing, right? Like, because even the following in general, I know I shouldn't even be going there, but I just really respect it, is all I want to say. How it's just done very easily, and it's nothing is, there's not much effort into, oh, come, this is great. Like, because one knows that it is leading us somewhere, and whenever anybody is ready, whoever is ready will join in, will be called. So then the superficial things don't need to be there. Yeah. So this attitude is natural to the religious mind, but it is just that which makes religion stand in the way of spiritual life. Yeah. So the main reason for which something was sought after and tried to be, no, in the sense, religion was established so that we could know more than we know, but the way we make things, like we color them with our own paint, then that only stands in our way of our evolution, our growth. So the articles and dogmas of a religion are mind-made things, and if you cling to them and shut yourself up in a code of life made out for you, You do not know and cannot know the truth of the spirit that lies beyond all codes and dogmas, wide and large. Yeah, it's so beautifully said. And you know how, again, in a lot of prayers, how, and in other texts, how Mother has said, or other masters and mystics have said that morality, religion, they are up to a point, right? Like once you are under thy law, these are not needed, they can be given up. Then just the divine law follows. Yeah.
Yeah, Taru, I just want to share an experience with my father. Yeah. So he was very orthodox, and he used to follow all the rituals. Every day he will do Sandhyavandan, and I've never seen him not doing till he lived still till 93 years. And on the day he was going to pass, I asked him at 6:30 in the evening, Appa, do you want to do Sandhya Vandan? Shall I bring that, that silver tumbler? Then he asked, No, Ma, it is enough. I have given there. So he showed his hand up. It is not necessary here afterwards, he said. Then he looked at the mother's picture. I have given to her everything. All my rituals I have given. That time I didn't understand why he is saying, because I've never saw him, saying like this. I've never heard him. He is very staunch devotee, of all the rituals. He will never leave anything. So the 6:30, I asked him, "You want to get up?" But that time itself, he was not all right. He said, "No, it's enough." At 9 o'clock, he passed away. So maybe he knew that. So after certain, just now you were mentioning, no? So after certain point, we have to leave everything. So yeah, I always remember my father. Yeah, for this, though he was very strong in his habits and rituals, but he could give up. Maybe at the last. Yeah, now I will be praying here. So he just showed his heart. So yeah, I just wanted to share this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sarjaji. Thank you. That's it's like, say the practices I believe are there so that we can follow some discipline, right? So that things don't rule us. We are master of certain habits so that we can be more on the path, and we don't get into, the tamas and the laziness. And yet, how the practices then start ruling us, that no matter what's happening, you have to do this, and this must be done. And then we associate the negative things, that oh my god, today the diya wasn't lit. That's a bit sad that we can't see that what is the root of this practice, or why is it done. And all practices are taking us to a point, and it's okay, and it's actually not really okay, it's actually advisable, and it's recommended that we change with how things are changing within me. If something is not adding value to me, I must move on. And that's why, everything, if I look at the approach, it's about flexibility. If you read Life Divine, even the first few chapters, it's all about that. It's like it's unlimited and expansive and huge. And with my human mind, I keep putting kind of locks on it and walls on it. And because I say that if this is what I understand, this must be it. And what the thing is that with your mind, this is what you understand. And this is it, right? Like this is, I don't know, it's just too much. But because I cannot understand too much, I just say this is it. Because if I say there are things beyond my understanding, I'm saying that I'm not smart, I have limitations. So to just even recognize my limitations, which are there, so obviously there. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm being very, yeah, articulate. Okay. And there's so many stories, right? That I remember one story that I think we had shared here only, that there was a guru who used to meditate at a specific time. I'm sure we would know this story. But there was a cat who came to our ashram that used to trouble the people who were meditating. So the guru started saying that just before we meditate, let's tie the cat for the duration of the meditation. So that happened for years and years. And then one day the cat passed on. He left his body. And the disciples start getting so anxious and fidgety that now how will we meditate, because there's no cat now. So it wasn't that we were tying the cat so that we could meditate. It became that for meditation, tying of the cat is the first step. And in a story like this, it sounds funny and silly. And yet, is it not what we do? And now, if we can see that, that's the whole point of, I believe, these passages and these teachings, that now if I can see, I can let it be, I can let go, I can have that freedom to not tie myself or restrict myself or limit myself in boxes. Now, by grace, if I can see how things are working, I can do things differently. Yes, so this I guess Captain had read just till here, and I'm surprised there are not more sharings today. Do feel free to say anything if something is coming, and whoever is ready, we can take up the next.
Hi, Taru. I wanted to read something by Sri Aurobindo. It was shared in a group about religion, and how beautifully Sri Aurobindo has explained religion. He says, religion's real business is to prepare man's mind, life, and bodily existence for the spiritual consciousness to take it up. It has to lead him to that point where the inner spiritual light begins fully to emerge. It is at this point that religion must learn to subordinate itself, not to insist on its outer characters, but give full scope to the inner spirit itself to develop its own true reality. And this is exactly what none of the religions are doing. To draw a line, to stop at a point and let it be. And we all, as we have grown up from childhood to wherever we are, we have seen things around us. We have grown up in a family and we have seen certain practices, and all that we are carrying, in our mind. And it often during Navaratras in India, I wonder, especially in Delhi, everybody is trying to observe fast and trying to do some ritualistic practices, but there's nothing wrong in it. If one's faith, if with full faith, whatever one chooses to do, it's fine. Everybody is buying those matkas, those colors, and it's fine. And there is so much of, suddenly the market is flooded with red cloth. All that is fine. And also the fast food, so much more food than anything else, and how we fool ourselves, isn't it? मैंने नवरात्रा किया. Or as we all are that, that kuan ka medak, that frog who lives in the well, just as Captain had just explained. We so finite. How can we ever know the infinite through this finiteness? But that is what religion was meant for. It was a way of life. It is a tool which helps us expand, which helps our consciousness to expand, which helps us transform, evolve. But do we even understand that? Do we even forget about understanding? Do we even know that? Because we feel that doing certain things, that outer action in this world, we are so caught up in doing. बचपन से हमें यही सिखाया जाता है कुछ करना है, कुछ बनना है. Well, that is fine, but कुछ नहीं करने में भी बहुत कुछ करना होता है. ये हमें पता ही नहीं है. Even when you are not doing, there is not even a moment that you can say that you are not doing any action. There's something happening mental. So but we are so fooled by this, what we will do outwardly. फूल चढ़ाना, प्रसाद चढ़ाना, दिया जलाना, whatever. Everything is fine. I am not negating कि ये करना बुरा है, क्योंकि ये मैं भी करती हूँ. Or not because I am doing it is fine, but I say that everything that you do, please understand that the essence of it is for your own self-transformation. And if that is not happening, then we all are fooling ourselves. These Navaratras, there's a certain kind of, it says that there is environmental energy is such, an environment is such that if you bring a certain purity within yourself, you will be able to connect with that consciousness. Well, it is there always, but if at all there is something special during Navaratras, and that is the purpose of it, that if you're observing fast, then you're giving rest to your digestive system. But in your mind, if you're dwelling on food, then better you eat. Because God, it doesn't matter to him whether you eat and love him, or whether you don't eat, but you are not even focused your attention on him. Because if we are hungry, then our mind will not focus there where we want to, or sit and worship. So better to eat and be in adoration of God, singing his praises, his glory, or whatever. It doesn't matter, because it is what is most important is our bhav, our intent, not our outer action. But we all are so impressed by the outer. उसने ऐसा किया, किसी को खाना खिला दिया, किसी को कुछ दे दिया, वो कितना अच्छा आदमी है. What a nice man he is, and कितना दान पुण्य का काम करता है, कितना बड़ा इंसान है, कितना humble है. But it is all fooling. Maybe he is. I'm not saying that somebody who's doing it might be. He only knows, because what attitude he is holding within himself, and what attitude he is doing, that is what is important. But all of us fool our own selves with our outer actions, and we see the action of others performed outwardly. We give immense importance to that. We waste our time, our life, our energies in that. But if we just sit, and even for a moment, if we turn our whole attention on whatever divine means to us, that is enough. Also, if we do some practices, and if that helps us build our trust, our faith, and it makes us feel nice, that is also fine. Because all that was their religion, was a way of life. Those practices were intended to create an atmosphere of purity within ourselves, so that we are able to rise up in our consciousness, so that we are able to evolve from human to divine. So This is what I wanted to just little bit my sharing. Thank you.
Yes, Priyanka, thank you so much for articulating it so well. Now, what you were saying about Navratras, I feel that again, and I'm sure you would agree, about all the festivals, right? Especially, I mean, just talking about in India. I mean, the state where they are, the thing that, when I think of Diwali, what what it can be, what it is, and what it's made to be now. Everything. It's weird that we don't even realize how far we have come, right? That how there's a beauty and we are happy that there's beauty, and then we get start celebrating, and in my celebrations the beauty is forgotten, the main thing is forgotten, and now it's just like how to make it loud and more lustrous and more glittery, and why are we doing this, that we don't know. But come on, don't be a party pooper, come join the party, and why are we celebrating, what are we celebrating, we don't know that. And if we know that, it's just a book saying, it's just a bookish thing that yes, the victory of this over this, that's it. It doesn't have any reflection on my life.
Yeah. So we all want to be part of the group, included, want to be recognized with others so that we can live in the society, we can be a part of the society. It's so difficult to have your own ideals, to live by it, and to shun away everything else. It's so difficult. So I guess we choose the inferior over the superior, get caught in our own cobweb, give in. But yes, at some point we do have to realize, and we do realize, and we gather ourselves. And for each, this could be at any point of time. Age is no bar. And also, it is not about the age, it is about the consciousness whenever one is ready. Sometimes it takes so many births for each one of us. And every time, every birth, the purpose of each birth is to rise above our own nature. The purpose of religion is that it helps us realize our own spirituality. Its aim was spiritual, but it is, and for ordinary beings, for all of us, how do we even imagine what God is? I mean, can a limited mind fathom an unlimited? How? But by step, like if you are on the ground floor and you have to go on the first floor, then you have to climb the stairs. Standing at the ground floor, you cannot imagine the rooms of the first floor. But that climbing the steps is important. And we start doing it. First step, second step, each step is bringing us closer to that which we are. Once we reach there, we become that. That is what our purpose is. That is what this divine Leela is all about. So it's so beautiful. This topic, I never thought I will have so much to talk about. But you talk well, Taru, and I loved listening to you. I love the way you speak with that calmness, that serenity, and that consistency of that flow. So don't say that, when you were saying that I am not articulate enough.
Today, I just felt I was in my own mind going around, because there's so much to see, right? There's so much.
Yeah, because
again, how far we have come, how lost I don't know, we could be, we are, I don't know what to say. It's just
Yeah.
a little mind-boggling and it confuses.
No, but I just love listening, and that is why we are just keeping quiet, because
Yeah.
it's making a lot of sense what we are reading and what we are listening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Priyanka.
What Priyanka ji was speaking about, going to the roof through the staircase. So Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to tell this to everyone. Many times actually he has mentioned to many disciples, those who came to him, and he was saying that it is the same material. The steps have been made with the cement and bricks and things like that, and even the roof was also made by the same material. But the person who is taking steps, or he is taking pain to go to the roof, he is taking the help of the stairs, and finally he reaches to the roof. And after reaching there, he experiences something, and so he feels that, so my pain what I have taken to climb, and that has given me the fruits of it actually. So now I have come to this, I can see the whole world actually, what was not visible from the ground, and now I have come to the place, now I can see it's a very big thing, it is not that small or something, that vastness. And so that is opens its eyes actually. So whenever, so he used to give this example that whenever he used to go to the Nitya means he is out of this world. Though the physical body is here, but his mind is somewhere else. He doesn't know actually where he is. And so that he used to call Nitya. Nitya means absolute truth, and it is connected. It is not destructible. It is always there. And then again, there comes back to Leela. Leela means, that human life where everything we are doing and all this, like human body. So it is telling that when you reach that stage, uh, like Swami Vivekananda was practicing this, and he says, I want to stay in that itself. I do not want to come back from that roof. He says, no, there are duties you have to perform, so you cannot be there. Just you forget about this whole world and you are somewhere else. The life is not for you to enjoy that way. That means you are doing only for you. But you have got a task. That task you complete, and then you do whatever you feel like. So he completed the task in the 39 and a half years of life, and then he says, now I have finished, and now I am doing that. So then he went. 2 years back only itself, he said on so date, means I will not be here in this body. So that that going to the staircase, I was remembering when Priyanka ji was explaining. Nice. That we have to practice whatever nowadays what we see in the name of religion and all this in fights and things like that. They are at very lower level, and their understanding and this and that. So we cannot comment on that because everybody has got right. But I still remember again Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he used to say that Jato Moth, Tato Path. In very short, he used to say, whatever people are practicing, whether it is Hindu, Muslim, or Christian, or whatever it may be. So these are the route, but we are leading to one place. We are reaching to the one place. So, and he says that once you are reaching there, that Brahma and all the Upanishads, they are talking about the Brahma. They have described Brahma. And once you reach there, he says, neither it can be seen, nor it can be realized, nor it can be felt, and not it can be explained. Because the moment you do that, then it becomes Jhuta. Because this is so far, nobody has seen Brahma. But you are that you do not know. Actually, all of us are that. It is not that individual Brahmas and all. We are that only one spirit. So unless that realization comes, means we are on that same path, and if we believe in that, then only probably we can progress or we can overcome the difficulties which are coming, and should not get bogged down on our path, because there will be difficulties and destructions, and all this will appear. So all the religion, they will try to force and this and that, but this everybody, they also know that there is something, there is some spirit or something, and that is that ultimate. Even Swami Vivekananda, when first time he went, and after the lecture at Chicago, then he was giving lectures in so many other places. And there, so he says that, see, all of you are praying, going to church on Saturdays or Sundays, and your ultimate aim is going to heaven. To Father, you want to go and you'll be with one Father. I mean, because he said that my Father and me are one. So their ultimate aim is him. He says, but before doing that, you will be, yes, definitely, your ultimate aim is same. But the fact remains that you have got something to do here in this physical body. So that you have to do, and all, then only you can just closing your eyes and saying that I'm practicing to go to heaven. I'm practicing to go to heaven, and all. I'll not do anything. So not that. So there are so many other things that are going to be done. So that we have to find out that whether we are following that, and then it's not as Priyanka was mentioning. It may not be one life. It may be so many lives are required to go in that path. We may not measure, we may not be able to measure that how far I have walked, how far I have reached, and what is the progress and all. So it may be difficult, but yes, uh, like Mother also says that we do not know what it is, but we want to reach that supreme. So, though we know that what is it, because normally we know that we have to go to so and so mall or so and so market. So we know that we have gone there and we have seen. So we are going there. Where are you going? I'm going to that mall. So we have seen that and we are going. So we have some idea where I'm going. But here, what I will see, what I will gain, and where I will reach, I do not know. But I have to go and I have to cross this life, and I have to go beyond that. That idea of that I have to go beyond. I have to cross this. I have to cross these and all. So that has to come. And once that comes and we be on that path, then probably God will help us to take that way. That's why the name of the book is also the Sunlit path. So the path has already been made, and it is the sun is giving the rays. So we have to follow in that light. Like Tarji was mentioning about the fire. I also saw that program in there was a 150th anniversary or something in the early morning at 4 o'clock. They were advertising and all in the 2022 this year or maybe the last year. I don't remember the date, but it was well organized and all. And they put it in the email and all this, and said that we could see the program. And all around the gallery, like of things, and the people are all devotees were sitting there, and the fire was lit in the center. Even the voice and the sound system was so nice. Even the wood is burning, and even that sound also we were getting of that actually that fire. And other than that, there's a total silence. Actually, there was no other music or anything of this nature, and it was very nice. Actually, it went on I think more than an hour or so. I saw that program. It was very nice and very calm and quiet, and early morning. It's very cool, and it was so nice. Thank you.
Yes, Captain. Thank you so much. It's so funny. Like again, using the same analogy when you were and Priyanka was saying, I was wondering that okay, I'm on this level and I have to walk here because I just cannot be here anymore. And then instead of realizing that okay, I was here and I'm trying to go here, all I'm focusing on is how am I keeping my step? What am I wearing when I'm keeping that step? What am I eating when I'm wearing that step? Like I get lost in the outside things again, rather than the focus that, okay, I have to reach there. That is my thing. So if something is helping me, I use it. I use it, and if it doesn't help me anymore, I don't take a second to drop it. But because I'm a sticky person, I don't leave things, right? And then the same things that I had picked up or that were given to me to help me reach a certain point, and now they become my stumbling blocks. Just there There used to be a serial called Udan. I don't know if anybody remembers. Maybe, I don't know, 30 years back, 25 years back, I don't remember. In which there was this lady who had become the first police officer. It used to come on Doordarshan. So in that, there was this very, courageous little girl who had gone through the police training.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I've seen
remember,
that. I've
Captain?
seen. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, in that, it never leaves me. In that, there was this thing that, okay, this girl got out of school, did police training, first female police officer, a huge deal. And then she got posted in a very small, weird town, with so much dogmas and stuff. And she wasn't happy. Like, she was just feeling so homesick and so, I don't know, ridiculed and stuff. So she calls her father. Her father is the source of her strength. And she calls him, on that STD phone that we used to have those days, that मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, I'm not liking staying away from you in this city and in this town and stuff. And I'll come back, I'll quit tomorrow and I'm coming back home. So the dad, who was again shown to be very strong, he said that, रिश्ते हमें मजबूत करने के लिए होते हैं, कमजोर नहीं. Like, if I am your strength, then I have to give you strength, and you must have strength everywhere. If I am your strength, it doesn't mean that now we just sit together, that okay, now we'll not go anywhere because we are each other's strength. Then that is going beyond, like going in the opposite direction of why we are there in the first place. Why a relation is there in the first place. So if my love is making you weak, then there's some problem there. So I think using the same analogy, if say a practice is making me stuck, is making me inflexible, is making me that no, this is it. और ये तो ऐसा ही होगा, otherwise you're a sinner, you are a this, I find it, like I personally, have worked in the United States for a number of years, and I have interacted with really amazing people who were again, who were quite religious. And the fact that they would believe, somebody can be convinced to believe that yes, he's a sinner, and yes, this is the only way to be. It's a bit surprising that how such a, very well exposed and knowledgeable, intelligent mind can fall into this trap of just this is it. Yeah, and even in I don't know for sure, but in Christianity, that's my impression, that they are not even allowed to talk about it. Even talking about that, why would it be a sin? It makes no sense. It's considered a sin. So I was discussing with somebody, say there was a book by Dan Brown, about some uh, I don't know, old stuff. I think you would have read it, the Da Vinci Code or something, about mystery and uh, yeah, whatever. And he said that I cannot even touch that book. It's against my religion. So just that if something is asking me to stop and not even question it, and I'm devoting my whole life to it, it's just, it kind of feels that why would I not see through that? Yes, welcome. So we have read a we are still reading an interesting passage on religion. That how, where it starts and where it has ended. Oops. So I'm sure if you would have loved to speak on it. Should we just, you want to read it once if you want to?
No, it's okay. Just proceed with whatever was going on. I'll
Okay.
catch my breath. Seems like all the India is out on the streets. Too
Oh,
much traffic. Yeah.
okay. So we'll just take maybe a little bit more and then we'll end. Okay, so I'll break down from here. So if anybody is okay reading it, we can take this last thing.
I'll read.
Yes, thank you.
When you stop at a religious creed and tie yourself in it, taking it for the only truth in the world, you stop the advance and widening of your inner soul. But if you look at religion from another angle, it need not always be an obstacle to all men. If you regard it as one of the higher activities of humanity, and if you can see in it the aspirations of man without ignoring the imperfection of all man made things, it may well be a kind of help for you to approach the spiritual life.
Priyanka, do you want to just continue? It seems to be just taking it up. Yeah, you could read that.
Yeah. I didn't get you, Daru. When
Yeah,
you
I said you can just read the whole thing. It seems to be a continuation, and then
Okay.
we'll just finish. Yeah.
Okay. Taking it up in a serious and earnest spirit, you can try to find out what truth is there, what aspiration lies hidden in it, what divine inspiration has undergone transformation and deformation here by the human mind and the human organization. And with an appropriate mental stand, you can get religion even as it is to throw some light on your way and to lend some support to your spiritual endeavor.
Yes, thank you. Any reflections before you unmute?
I can bombard.
Yeah, I thought so.
On this, I'm reminded of how, with any good thing, when it starts with a vision, nice vision, like little organizations, nice little, I don't know, ashrams, or maybe a community of seekers seeking together, something like that. And then slowly, most of the cases, I think it is so unavoidable with us being us, who we are right now, that it forms into a cult after the main visionary is gone. Like, for example, if now Sri Aurobindo and Mother are not there in their physical bodies, although their force is still working, but physical presence is something else. And we see that within Auroville, within Pondicherry, there are people who take it on their ego consciousness that, see, I have been with the mother, so I am more superior than you. And this we see not only here, but I personally, since I'm interested in it, I've visited several organizations like Jiddu Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharishi's ashram. And we see that it is so unavoidable that you don't associate your ego consciousness with it. So it becomes like a cult, even with, like, for example, with the organization that I was working before, Advait Life Education, there also I see that vision is there, the teacher is there, words are full of light, and yet the distortion of human mind is still, that also can be seen, that you form it into a cult, and anybody who is kind of disagreeing with you, you stand up and say, you are against us. So again, that divisive consciousness is in operation, so nothing really has changed. So when Priyanka was reading this paragraph, I think this, I very much resonated with that if you are intelligent, if you can see through things, then even in being in these kind of things, you can see that how human mind can distort, make divisions even in spirituality, and yet there would be something or of benefit even there. The crux can be taken even there, and this also can be my learning that, see, that grass is only greener on the other side. And in living in a city, you can be as pure as you want to be. Living under the nose of mother or with some master, you can be as egoistic as you want to be. So yes, that really, I think I have lived that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. That lot of times we think that if I was there, right? Like then everything would be, and the people who are there, talk about, how it's just all over even there. So it's just, I remember one of our friends, when she was going to Auroville, you had told her that, no matter what is happening, just you keep your eyes on the mother. Like, you're entering a room, there's a picture of mother, just know your focus. And after 2 years, she had shared with me that this thing that you had given to her just before he went really helped her, because otherwise it was probably she wouldn't have been lost or not, she would have, because there were faces or things that she felt repulsed by. That how can this be here? Right? So first of all, everything is everywhere, knowing that, factually. And then I can choose, right? Like I can choose that I know it doesn't conquer me, right? Like, yeah, and
Yeah. So I think for me also it was very grounding when thinking that grass is greener on the other side. I went to many Krishnamurti schools and spent a couple of days everywhere. And then I realized that human mind is still the same here also. There may be a couple of very sincere people which you find everywhere, there is no limit. And there are others also of all kind of varieties, now living with an egoistic thing that, see, I have been with Krishnamurti, when he was alive or whatever. So I think that really grounded me and uh, told me really that yes, grass can be greener on the other side, it's true. And also gave me this conviction that you were sharing about, that friend in Auroville, that if I have to work on myself, I don't have to be in Auroville. I don't have to be in Pondicherry. I can be anywhere and work on myself. But I think that came to me only after I had ran enough.
yeah.
Before that, it doesn't hit. Yeah. So many
I can't hear you. I don't know if it's at my end or your end. You seem to be stuck. I don't know if I'm stuck or
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah.
I lost connection in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. I was just extrapolating. Yeah.
would you like to repeat that? Because at my end, I couldn't hear anything. If you would.
Where was I? Oh, I lost the thread.
Okay.
Too much traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know the crux for me here, and I think next time too we must read it once again. It's a very, like all passages, it is again a very important thing that there's no it, right? Anything that says that this is it, even the saying in itself has to be like a, kind of a knock that, oh, check what they are saying, right? Like, because there is no it right now the way I am operating, and the one that is the it will never claim that I am it. So anything that I've been told that ये तो करना ही है, yeah, this has to be, I can step back and think that, do I want to do this? If it's giving me joy, peace, I don't know, pleasure, if I want that, I must. But at least knowing that why am I doing this, if that is clear, that is very good to know that, okay, and yet not fall for the traps and the names and the titles and the practices and the procedures, thinking that it is making me, holier than thou, which it would probably be taking me in the opposite direction. So we had read the passage religion today, but we will again just read it next time before we take up the next one. It was a very beautiful passage and a lot to think about and reflect on.
I think this
Just
line also just
yeah,
came, no? Mine is superior. It's okay.
yes,
Mine is superior and yours is inferior.
yeah.
I think this is also a very commonly held misconception. And again, I feel that the very fact is that we have to let go of this categorical mind, which always keeps on making divisions. And here also we enter religion or we enter spirituality, and the same game is going on. The transactional mind, the categorical mind has not changed. I have not transcended it. I'm still operating from that categorical mind. And we think that, we have become. So I think Jetsunma also points out this a lot, that wherever this game of superior, inferior in the mind is going on, we are in trouble. We are in a marsh, swampy area. So to be very careful of this, to be conscious whenever these categories are being made. Again, I think last time we had discussed that, not last time, that discernment is something different and judgment is something different. Discerning intelligence, of course, has to be used, but judging who is superior, who is inferior, now I am inferior, he is superior, my religion is more elitist, there is maybe trivial. So all these things, when we notice within ourselves, we have to step back. That's the ego consciousness in operation. Yeah.
There's just one thing here which I had heard, which, one thing is that, okay, this is superior, inferior. And yet, it's, how Jesus said that I am the Son of God and the only way is through me. How that is taken up and said that, okay, see, that means Christianity is it. And yet we are told that when Krishna was there, he said, just look at me, I am standing in front of you, there is no other. So here also, there is something here, that one thing is that if you're following something or if you are into something, you have to give it that limelight, right? You have to give it that importance. You cannot say that. And if you again keep saying that, then you'll miss on what you are. And yet to see the nature of things, right? A discernment has to be there. That what is the thing saying? Nothing in itself is just it. And yet they, I know I'm bit here and there, and yet they both are there together in the same thing, right?
No, I think that's why they say that bhakti is blind without gyan yoga.
Yeah.
So if wisdom is absent, if intelligence is absent, then bhakti is blind. And with blindness, you can't go really too far. So that's why as we grow on the path, they all come together. Bhakti yoga, Gyan yoga, Karma yoga, they all come together. We may start from any particular one, but ultimately they all come together. Wisdom has to be there, devotion has to be there, and in action this all has to manifest. So I think we can't escape all of them coming together. Yeah.
Yeah, bhakti is blind without knowledge, and yet bhakti also leads to knowledge, provided it is done with that attitude of bhakti. Because it's not just about singing glories, but it is also about the inner attitude, the sense of surrender, total focus. Then that is also a way to lead you to knowledge. Because as we, knowing little about Ramakrishna Paramahansa, people say that he was not educated, he was illiterate. But it is something different to be illiterate, and it is so different to be knowledgeable, So through bhakti, because his bhakti had such purity that it is so sad that when he used to sit and in front of the goddess, and offer prasad to her, it used to be like like you know he used to cry out to the mother that come and eat this prasad. And that there was so much of purity in that. There was so much of surrender, so much of trust, belief, whatever. I don't have a word for it. I cannot, describe something which I myself don't have it. But yet it fascinates me so much that how can, in this world where all of us so-called literate people, educated people, we might be having idols in our home or not having a picture or whatever. Do we have that love in us? Can we ever think कि अगर मैंने कोई प्रसाद श्री माँ के सामने रखा है तो श्री माँ तुम इसको खा के दिखाओ मुझे, खाती क्यों नहीं हो? ये हमारे अंदर ये विश्वास है कि वो बाहर निकल के खाएंगी. But that was what was there in Ram Krishna Paramahansa. And he used to even he used to get so bugged that he said he used to use foul language. That, that Bengali, I don't know the Bengali language, but he used to use some very foul language to the mother that why are you not coming and eating this? This is just, I'm going on, praying to you or asking you to come. How much pampering you want? You're not coming and eating, and every day this is happening. And one fine day, it so happened that, because it is our own power which creates our own power, because by that purity, by that love, that full adoration, he awakened the divinity within himself, that he created the divine. It is not separate from us, isn't it? Yet it is everywhere outside of us and inside of us too. So mother came and ate, and people used to think कि ये क्या होता है, रोज प्रसाद रखते और ये कहते हैं कि माँ आके खा गई. How is that possible? All these people who are so knowledgeable, like, उनके तो कभी नहीं. So किसी ने शायद छिपके देखा, and that is when they realize that, I don't know the details of it, but this thing, somebody long time back, either I read it or somebody said it, I don't know, but it has stayed with me that हमारे अंदर ही कितनी impurities है, it is within us. We have to, कहाँ है हमारे अंदर वो प्यार, वो single pointed concentration, devotion, जो कृष्ण गीता में भी, he says that be my lover. Just my lover is so possessive. God is so possessive. As I read, sometimes when I read Gita, I said he's so possessive. And he says, nobody, हम भी ऐसा कहते हैं ना कि जिससे हम बहुत ज्यादा प्यार करते हैं, किसी और की तरफ ध्यान मत, मेरे तरफ ही होना चाहिए. But it is so full of ego, that there is, of course it is. But there, God is saying that you only think of me and I'll take care of everything that you need. Because you become one with me, you become possessed by me, and we become one. That is so beautiful. But for that, we have to work on our own impurities, and religion is a way to help us attain to that. But we don't, I think we don't know that, we don't realize that. It is not just for those, the karma kand, it has its value. And it does bring purity. And I am saying it out of my own experience, that howsoever I might sometimes feel कि ये क्या ritualistic practices, ये सब क्या कर रहे हो घर में, many a times I am like saying what? And yet it has brought about some change within my own being while following that. And, I would just give an example of Chhat Puja, because I come from, in our family, that Chhat Puja, that offering gratitude to the rising and the setting sun. And it happens every year in our home. My mother does it, and we all as a family come together and do it. And every year when I do it with her, there is something within me. Those are ritualistic practices, but they're intended for something. And when you do it, even if my mind is scattered going here and there, yet by the end of that 4 days, there is something which is stilled, there's something which is purified. And I feel, can I stay like this? And then as the days pass, my thoughts dwell in this outer world. I remind myself, don't do that. And I'm doing that because Chat Puja has just been a few days, it has passed. And I'm reminding myself every day. As Monica, as you have made us read that synthesis of yoga, that chapter, how we should, so that is also kind of, a guideline for me that, look, whenever a thought is coming to your mind, that we are thinking about something, it will always take you to some negative lane. Stop it there. Stop it there. In our brain also, that the hippocampus, the region of the brain, the moment we get into a thought pattern, which we have had for many, it will start firing, and we'll get caught in that cobweb. So, in the end, so ending it here, because this topic is such that we can go on endlessly. But yes, religion has its essence, its value, spiritual, for us to take us towards our spiritual fulfillment. Hope we understand that and take it in that spirit. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka. Thanks for sharing. I was wondering when you said that we are not devoted, we intellectuals or so-called literate people, but I think we are devoted. We are
No,
devoted
I mean,
to
if I said
we are
that,
devoted to our ideas. We are devoted to our ways of living. We are devoted. Each
you
one
are
of us.
devoted. Because there's so much added to us, to our own learning process, isn't it? That
Ah,
we have to
so
also
I think
learn from others.
by
Yeah,
default, all of us
yeah,
are just devoted. And now, if we recognize that we have been devoted at places which are not benefiting us, our rigid ideas, opinions, so just to change the devotion to, as you
yeah,
were sharing,
yeah. That
the
was the
divine.
purpose of our education, isn't it? To
Yeah.
use our discriminative power. That was
Mm.
to develop that power.
Yeah.
It's
But
true.
now maybe time to give it up. No, the
To
categorical
unlearn,
thing, of
to
course, not the
unlearn many things.
discrimination.
So hard it is. So hard it is,
It is
Monica.
hard, no doubt.
So
Yes.
hard. Yes.
It's become a part of our being. In
Yeah.
Savitri, you remember there were these lines as if when Ashwapati is expanded
Mhm.
from the ego consciousness, he expands into this cosmic self. There was this line which we read lately, last few sessions, where it was like as if something like mortality was torn out of him, like as if like a piece of flesh is taken out of him, and that's how ego consciousness kind of we are rid of that. So it's like become a part of our being. We have been living like that for so long, and it is very hard. Totally agree. Yeah. Yet very simple, masters say.
Yeah.
We don't know that simplicity, but we know the discomfort of letting it go. For sure. Yes. Okay, so I think maybe we can pause here for today. And before we end, let's take a silent moment to ourselves just to share the joy, the delight, the merit. May all of us have peace at heart and progress and joy in life. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.